All right, we're back. We're gonna finish the list. See,
Oh, well, you don't need to be away from the
finishing the list. Okay, where did I? Oh no, where did I leave off? Oh, I left off at O. So we're gonna go from P down. I'm sure we can finish this in a decent amount of time. Patriot Nurse. She covers anti-vaxxing. She covers some politics stuff. Not quite a regular political channel. She's also pro Second Amendment, so she'll talk about that sometimes. Whatever kind of comes across her desk, she'll talk about different stuff. Sometimes she talks about like natural remedies that you can do. Like people have called her prepper nurse before. I don't know if she ever changed her name, but she is into kind of that prepper sphere. But not like, I don't know, not something that weirds me out, and I guess I'm not really a prepper. I don't know. I do have some food piled up here, like some canned goods. So I guess in that sense. But anyway, Paul Joseph Watson, really, really funny. He covers, he reacts to like cultural politics. Some politics, but mostly cultural politics. So, like bad architecture. He did a video, I think, on bad architecture. He's made videos on like stupid stuff that the left does, and then he goes through responses on Twitter and makes funny voices as he reads like the tweets that are obviously put out by someone from the left. Project Veritas. They are right up there with them and Judicial Watch, are two YouTube channels that are also activist organizations in and of themselves. So if you're gonna give your money to anybody, I would say give it to one of those two or both of them. Anyway, Project Veritas, what they do is they have undercover journalists who go in and catch the left or big corporations. He did some stuff on the media. Right now, he's been doing a lot of stuff on social networks. So he did something on Facebook and this thing on Pinterest. So his people go undercover. They try to volunteer. Like at one point, they volunteered with various versions of the DSA. Before the election, they volunteered in some states that would be like up for grabs and caught them saying cringy stuff that their voters wouldn't want to know. The election where Josh Hawley won, I believe they covered his opponent in that state. So that's good stuff. And in fact, I think it was the woman who was the incumbent that Josh Hawley knocked out. I could be wrong. And I want to say that's Montana, but anyway, I could be wrong. One of the campaigns that they had embedded someone in, the person was pretending to be pro-life and they were actually pro-choice, and they were getting money from Planned Parenthood through Emily's List. And if you're watching my channel all the time, you know that I've made a few videos about Emily's List. That little side comment where the girl was like, oh, you get it from Emily's List. That's when I turned around and I looked up this Emily's List and found out that they were pretty big players. And I had never seen any of the conservative YouTubers that I watch, do kind of like a video about them or explain them or talk about them at all. And I have since seen, there's one like reasonable Democrat in my neighborhood that we are Facebook friends simply because she can't stand AOC and I can't stand AOC. And we're both Jewish people who live in the same neighborhood. And like right now we're fighting, kind of fighting. I don't know if that's the right word, but we have a primary going on where Linda Sarsour is backing a candidate. And so there's not even a Republican candidate going against them in the fall. I don't know. Somebody told me there was, but I was told that there wasn't. So I'm with her kind of promoting the reasonable Democrat for this. It's like a local position because I'd rather not have somebody that Linda Sarsour likes having a major position in my borough. Please and thank you very much. No. But anyway, so this woman getting back to my point, I'm way off topic. Anyway, sorry. This woman, she shared something on Facebook that was like normal stuff, but guess who the original poster was? The original poster was Emily's List. So, I mean, their stuff really gets out and about around, with the left, with the Democrats. Political Islam. So that's Bill Warner. He's, you know how I said a lot of this stuff I cover because I just look up something because I get interested and I keep looking it up and then I'm like, hey, I've found so much information, I should make a video. So anyway, Bill Warner is somebody who was always interested in like politics and history and that kind of like social studies-ish type stuff. I know my English is just so proper with that one. Anyway, so that's the kind of stuff he was interested in. He was a scientist, physicist or biologist. I don't remember what kind of scientist. Not important. Anyway, he's now retired and 9/11 happened. So he's devoted his retirement to making videos and I believe he goes out and speaks and educates the public. So that's what he does. And from a historical perspective, so he has some really good information. Like I remember one of his interviews, he was talking about how he was on vacation visiting, I think it was somewhere in Europe, maybe it was like the Middle East or Turkey or something, and he found like this church where you went inside and the ceilings were really high, but like you had to go down a bunch of stairs after you entered the church. And he was talking about how the reason why was it was built during a time when the Christians were under Dhimmitude. And, you know, Dhimmi is like an infidel. And so the Islamicists had control of that area. And they were not allowed to build, you can't build like a church or a synagogue to be higher, to go up higher than a mosque when the Muslims are in charge. So that was a very interesting tidbit that was tied into a historical story. So, really good stuff. He talks about, you know, how blocking the street is a political action, even though they'll block the street and then they'll all pray and do that thing where they stick their butt up in the air. They'll do that in the street, but it's a political action because they're blocking the street, letting you know that, hey, we're powerful and F you. So let's say, moving on to Ranting Monkey. Hey everybody, I'm the Ranting Monkey. That's his introduction. So his prepared videos are really good. He does streams. I don't like his streams. I don't really like streams. So, my list is generally, my interest in watching videos is generally, I like videos that are 20 minutes or less, 15 minutes or less, and I don't really like streams. So that's what you'll find on my list for my personal recommendations. If you like streams, probably find somebody who wants to watch streams to give you your recommendations. Or you can just watch streams from the people that, like Ranting Monkey does do streams. He does streams with a few other channels. So he does, like more cultural political. I feel like his channel is similar to No BS. But yeah, like reactions to like cultural political stuff going on. And he curses. He says he curses a lot, but he doesn't curse as much as Striper Dior. She curses the most of anybody on my list, but he curses more than John Miller. So I will say that. So if you're somebody that cursing bothers you, you probably won't like his channel. But if cursing doesn't bother you, that's one thing. I'm not even that bothered by cursing, but sometimes Striper Dior like curses too much for even me. Steven Crowder. Oh, very, very funny. He's pretty big channel. You probably already know his stuff. He's like a political comedian. So his show is meant to come across like a late note show, but with a conservative twist. That's just my view. So it's a gay Hispanic Republican. He lives in Phoenix. That doesn't really come up very often. He does car videos mostly, but he will edit in clips later on, which I really like. So he'll edit in a few clips or photos here and there, but you know, he'll film while he's driving and then he'll add in a little bit more to make it of relevant clips from stuff to make it even better. So I like that. The Amazing Lucas, that's more of an edited channel. So he does videos about, I guess it's also cultural, political stuff. He's been covering a lot of videos on this whole like trans athletes. He covered like the weightlifters, and lately he's been covering these trans athletes who are doing like track and field in high school, or I think they're not allowed if they're in college, but so he's been covering a lot of that stuff. But he covers other stuff. So he definitely does stuff that's a little more off the beaten path. And he's black, so he does do stuff that affects black people a lot. You know, he does a lot of stuff that his subscribers send him. He'll say, a lot of people sent me this, and I wasn't going to do it, but then I looked into it. So that's his thing. Like, you know, when an incident happens with, like, shootings and, you know, just, I don't know, just interesting stuff that... So he does do stuff that I really only see it on his channel. And I can't say that for everyone. Tim Pool, he is actually left-leaning, but he covers a lot of, like, anti-censorship and media bias type stuff. So he's definitely good for that. He covers, like, cultural, political, but not as much of the cultural stuff as some of the other channels I've mentioned. Like I said, he does a lot on censorship and media bias. And he's technically left-leaning, and every once in a while you'll see him say something that's basically catering to the left. And if you look in his comments, most of his subscribers get very upset. But it is what it is. We still like him, I think, because he does so much with the censorship and the media bias stuff, and he covers other stuff. And he puts out a ton of content between his 3 channels, which are Tim Pool, Timcast, and Subverse. So Subverse is more newsy. Timcast and Tim Pool are more like news with commentary. And I believe Timcast is supposed to be the commentary channel. Tim Pool is supposed to be like more news without commentary, but I find I can't really tell the difference between the two. I think he prepares a little more for the Tim Pool channel because he only does 1 video a day on that, and Timcast he does, I think, 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 6:15, 6:30, something like that. And the Tim Pool channel is just 1 video every day at 4 p.m. Tom Binns does pretty much straight news, more of political stuff. Nancy Pelosi, you know, what Trump did, what's the strategy behind it, is it a good idea, is it a bad idea, what does he think he should do? Like, he covers a lot of stuff where it's what's actually going on with people in political office and judges and things like that. So he covers a lot of that, whereas a lot of the other channels I've talked about have more of a cultural bent to them. They've all talked about, pretty much everybody ventures outside of their main area, but his main area is what's going on in the news. Vocab Malone, he specializes in apologetics. So he's actually Christian apologetics, and then he also talks about Hebrew Israelites, the Black Hebrew Israelites. So I definitely went to him right away when the incident with what was it called? The Nick Sandman incident. When that we're gonna pick it up in the next video.